Chronicles The Series.
Yes.
We missed you guys so much.
Yes.
I miss my lady.
I know.
Like, see you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then she did a lot of traveling this summer, so you was kind of like here and then not here.
International baddie.
Betty.
Well, you was international too because you actually had a really amazing trip because you won your trip on the actual show.
I won my trip on Let's Make a Deal.
Yes.
We went to Greece. So we've had some fabulous little summer moments.
We did.
Yes.
As you see, we're down a queen, but she's still a queen in our heart. We want to give a shout out to Larice Parker.
Hey, girl.
Yay. Our fourth queen. She will probably join us at some point, but she won't necessarily be on every single chronicle.
Correct.
So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off.
Yes.
We're going to talk about colorism. And I got on my my black guy shirt, Boys in the Hood. Because if you have not seen this as a black person, I'm going to have to take your black card. Okay, moving on.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you're a little young.
I think I haven't seen the whole movie. I've seen parts of Boys in the Hood. I haven't seen the whole movie. Like sit down and watch it. I haven't.
I don't know this artist either.
I'm starting to feel
all I see
less of a queen.
All I know is the Ricky, and then he gets shot, and then the
Oh, okay.
I've seen that.
Moving on, I won't take anybody's black card because I would have to take yours.
Thank you. Please don't take my card.
Anyway, so okay, I'll hold on for the Sister Soldiers, and I know most of us have seen it. Comment if you've seen it and you loved it. Moving on. We're going to talk about colorism, and colorism is something that impacts us greatly. I have personal experience with that, having children of different shades and hues, so I look forward to talking about this topic. Colorism is defined as prejudice or discrimination against individuals with dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group, because we do it to each other. We do it to each other. What are your thoughts?
So for me, I think it goes back to slavery.
Oh, it definitely does.
And I think that I don't want to say the house Negro, and then hit the outside. So the lighter you were, the more likely you were to be inside.
Yeah.
Serving or to be the maid, and the darker your skin, you tend to be in the field or outside. And so I think that somehow our culture carried that philosophy, that. And so even when it's not, I can remember growing up and being like, and so in my family, and I'm not really that dark, but in my siblings, I'm the darkest.
Okay.
And so my sister and my brother are lighter. They have both my mom's side of the family coloring, and they were always like, "Oh, y'all must be siblings, and you're the one that's adopted, or you're the half sibling, or like." And so it was kind of like always like, "What?"
Right.
But I thought that process started 50-some years ago back in slavery, and we as in the people, we have now carried it into it. And you get people who say, I don't want a black baby, or I don't want a dark skinned baby, I don't want I want a baby with good hair. Like we say all those things about each other, and so then people who looking on the outside looking in think that it's okay.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so y'all know I love history.
Of course she does.
But it was a way to divide Negroes during slavery. And so during slavery times, a white author, I can't remember his name, but it was basically a book, I can't think of the name of the book, but
no?
I don't remember. I don't remember it's like during the 1800s when it was written. But it talked about basically how to keep your slave in check, basically. And because at this time they were dealing with a lot of like slave rebellions and things like that, and basically the book said that if you want to conquer them, divide them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so that's where it started. So they said put the lighter skin, it said Negro folk in the house, and put the darker skin Negro folk, they didn't use the word Negro, they used the other word, outside. And so here we are centuries later, and we're still dealing with the effects of that policy, and that's exactly what they did. But I mean, any great leader will tell you, if you want to conquer a people, you divide them, and that's what they did. That was their way of eliminating rebellions. It was a way of stopping them, the slaves from working together, because what happened was there was resentment between the outside black people and resentment between the lighter skinned people, and they did maybe unnaturally, but they started to say like, well, we're inside
We're better.
We're better.
We're better.
And you're outside on the field. And I've always also felt that, and I told my dad this when I may have been like 13 or 14. He always reminds me of it. But I'll never forget, I was trying to figure out like where light-skinned people came from, because like in Africa, even though we were all shades, majority of us were black before the diaspora. And so I was like, where the lighter skinned people came? And lighter skinned people came as a result of, you know, the mixing with the white masters. And I asked my dad one time, I said, do you think maybe the reason why they wanted lighter skinned people in the house was because a lot of those lighter skinned people were those masters' kids? You know,
that's deep right there. Now I never thought about that.
So,
that's
and I left my dad speechless too. He was like, that is a good point. You know,
I never thought about that.
So I mean, that's another theory. I'm sure there are other reasons as to why, you know, lighter skinned people were chosen to be in the house, but that has been their technique of conquering us. If you keep them divided, you know, there were laws, they were called the slave codes, where it couldn't be 2 to 3 more people gathered, 2 to 3 more slaves gathered together at the same time. You know, we couldn't read, we couldn't write, we couldn't you know, go to church. There were certain rules that they used in order to keep us down. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to escape from that divisive mindset. We're still dealing with that.
It's a mindset.
I remember my first child, I got 3. So my first child, Maya, she's 21. When she was born, I mean, I'm telling you, that's a beautiful baby. Chocolate drop, beautiful hair, and just beautiful baby. So people in my generation and older would say, I remember one of my friend's mother said, she is such a pretty dark-skinned baby.
Oh God, I get that all the time.
Dark-skinned baby. So dark-skin was like a qualifier. She overcame this great obstacle. She's still pretty, even though she's dark.
I get that all the time.
So, and we know that light skin doesn't just automatically make you beautiful, but it's almost as if you get a pass, or, you know, you have a higher, you know, standard or whatever, because you're light versus dark. So I remember buying books and making sure that I would read to her and affirm her, but when she got out with her peers, she didn't face that. I remember one of my good friends who I don't really speak to, we could have remained friends to this day, she came over and called her like a chocolate, burnt, crispy, whatever, and I have really, to this day, it's like a high buy, and when she sees me, she may be way more, hey, what's going on, and catching up, and I'm just kind of like, hey, no love laws at this point, but we can never really be friends.
Of course not.
Yeah, like I remember when we first became friends, I came to do your daughter's makeup for prom.
Yes.
That's how Tasha and I met. And so I was at your house, and I was the makeup artist, but you had somebody else there. I don't remember what her role was. I think she was taking pictures. She was the photographer.
Oh, that.
Breathe through it, baby.
Good photographer. God bless
her. So she
was me. I don't remember, but go ahead.
So she was there, and so I was doing her makeup, but she had the camera, and she kept saying, for a dark girl, you are so cute. I think
for a dark girl.
I mean, she said it like 10 times. And so finally she walked away, and I remember God saying, speak life into her. I remember like God being like, speak life into her. And I remember saying to her, you are beautiful just the way God created you. And the black of the berry, the sweet of the juice.
Baby.
And so I remember she looked up. I said, look up, don't cry. I like just on her foundation. I said, look up. And she said, you have foundation to match my skin.
Wow.
And she was always like kind of like, I guess, shocked. But I find in my industry that I find that the reason why I remember when Rihanna's makeup line dropped,
revolutionary.
One of the biggest things she had was that she had shades to match every shade in our culture. From the most beautiful and chocolate of skin to the fairest and the light, and that's why she made a killing. And what she did was she required every other major makeup line to fall in line.
Go ahead, Rihanna.
They had to go back. They had to go back and redo their lines. They had to go back because they were, and you hear her say, I have to mix this shade and this shade to get my color, or they would look like really ashy. Like you hear this. So whenever I made it a point to audition, I had colors to fit everybody. But I remember Maya that day. I'm gonna tell her, you have to know you're beautiful. And so she said, I'm good. I said, I'm good. I said, okay, you good? I'm good. And we were good after that. but I think she said it about 10 times.
It was sad because
it's
people
really
will put that
ignorant.
on her.
About
Like
10
a
times.
person cannot even be in that space. She was on her prom day looking beautiful,
Yeah.
ready to rock and roll, and here she comes.
Yeah.
And if you see Maya now, you can't tell her nothing. God bless her.
Go, baby.
Go, girl. So yeah, I mean that's huge.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've heard that a lot. Like growing up, my parents never, because my sister is light skinned, and
How Miss A&T? How you doing, Miss A&T?
that's my baby. But you know, my parents never put that that colorism mindset. Like I mean, even though we were light, we were different shades. Like I was like, we both cute, you know.
Right.
And so it really wasn't until I went to, well, actually I'll never forget this. I was in high school, and this girl that used to do my hair, she was like an older sister. She had a hair salon, and she wanted me to take pictures for her new hair salon. She wanted, you know, do a photo shoot, whatever, for her new salon. And I was so excited. This was my first photo shoot. I was already kind of feeling myself, probably too much, but I was already kind of feeling myself.
She's never struggled in confidence.
And I was so excited, and so we took the pictures, and then like a week later I came back, and she had all the pictures on her computer, and her mom, who was from, I feel like I'm giving too much information, but I'm just saying, well, she was from a very southern state, so you know the southern states really, they are very behind. They're very behind in progression. They are like, you know, and so but she was like looking through the pictures, and she's like, you are the cutest little dark skinned girl I've ever seen. Dark skinned girls usually aren't cute.
Wow.
And I had to be maybe, I was in the 10th grade. And so
15 maybe?
Yeah, probably about 15. Yeah. And when I tell you, I never forgot. That was the first time where I was like, okay, so if you're dark skinned, that doesn't equate to beauty, you know?
Yeah.
And but even then, like I wasn't like really upset. And then I went to college, and I started to really see, you know, I took a lot of classes on it, and you know, things like that. But now one thing that I really, really love, well, before I get to that, because I'm skipping all over, but another thing that I see is like on TV, you know, when they are portraying black families, there's always, they don't mind a brown skinned father, but it's always a light skinned mother, or there is a lot of athletes are married to, nothing against it, but they're married to like white women. I don't know if you guys seen a video. It was an NFL player. I can't think of his name right now, but
that's a good thing.
He right, exactly, because you know
let's not drop names.
I will expose you in a heartbeat, because the video went viral. But like they were at a dinner or something like that, and the girl was announcing that she was pregnant, and he stood up, black man, and his wife was white, and he stood up and he said, "Cheers to more mixed babies."
Wow.
And so everybody's, and they're at a dinner table, and they're like woo woo, like screaming and everything. And I'm just like, what, the audacity for you to say that and to be comfortable saying that while you're being recorded, you know. And so I just think there are onion peels to it, you know, as far as like what kids see like on TV, as far as the portrayal of what a pretty black woman looks like. But I also do feel like, even though in my opinion, I feel like we've gone back, I do feel like there has been progression taking place, because people like Lupita, Neon, and you know, Beyonce's new song Brown Skin Girl. Like I love that we are celebrating all shades of black women.
But I think that it starts with us though. I think that we as queens have to celebrate each other. I think we are the most critical of each other, whether it's our hair, whether it's whoever we're dating, whether it's the car we drive, or whether it's our skin. Yeah. And again, I will say, you know, as a makeup artist, I've dealt with all types of skin, and one thing I've noticed though is that I tend to have less like skin issues. With the richer skin. The richer
all that melanin.
I mean, not that I have not had anybody, you know, with skin problems, but they are far in between with the richer skin, right? And so I love to put a beat. Let me tell you something. I love to put a beat. Now I can beat anybody. Let me be very clear with that. I can beat anybody. But I love when I beat somebody's face and I give them the mirror back and they are like in love with it. Like, oh my God, I know I can look like that, because I think that we do so much of putting each other down and putting ourselves down that we don't have to have anybody else do it. And colorism only works because we work it.
Yeah, I mean, true that. And it's more subliminal now, the way that we see it. So, like you said, the imaging on TV, or when we think about an angry black woman, the image you see is a dark-skinned woman, or even a dark-skinned, heavy set, you know, like
with her head going,
all that, and, you know, so it's ingrained within your psyche. Versus back and this wasn't that long ago, the 50s and 60s, when you had to pass the paper bag test to get into fraternities, to get into sororities, to get into churches and other social groups. That's sad, and we're still kind of doing that paper bag test.
We do it differently.
We do it differently. It's just not as literal. I'm holding out a paper bag. Could you imagine putting your arm beside a paper bag?
It's different.
And being told no because you're not light enough.
So
you're not getting.
There was a show. There was a reality show, and it happened. The season that it just went off, and there was a star, and she was from. I believe she's from. She's not U.S. She's not a U.S. citizen, and so she wanted to bring awareness to colorism.
Okay.
So she like covered her whole body in makeup, and it's really, really fair, light makeup. And her friends like, "What are you doing? You know, I can't wear." Like they were like outraged, right?
Yeah.
And she's I don't want to mix it up. I believe she's a reggae star, and so she was saying that like in her country, in her culture, you can walk into a store and buy bleaching cream. Like it's everybody's trying to make their skin, you know, lighter. And so she was trying to bring awareness to it, and it kind of broke my heart to be like, wow, in 2019, we're still in that place. Like we're still in a place where people are promoting and encouraging you to go out and to buy a cream that can actually do damage to your skin because you want to be like, you want to be lighter. It's like so sad to me, but it's so real at the same time. And but it was a big, because her album cover or the single cover came out before the show aired.
Okay.
So when it came out, people were like, "Oh my God! Like, what is she?" Like, it was this huge hoopla. But you had to watch the show to understand why she had done. And so in the show, she actually goes back to her country to do a concert. She's trying to like become a big star here, and so she gone back home to do a concert. And there was a guy who was the promoter or something. And he was saying, men like authentic women. Like, we like you when you're you. So if your hair's nappy, you know, we don't need all the lashes and the. We need you to be you.
Right.
And if you embrace you, we'll embrace you.
Confidence is the best color.
Yeah. What?
I mean, what? I think that what we have bought into is that white is right. You know, and that too, like you said, for them to marry a white person or keep the color going is a way to say that we've achieved or accomplished something. When did that become a goal? To actually seek out lightening our skin and producing children who are lighter. There's nothing wrong with that. They're absolutely beautiful, but so is that chocolate baby that came from a chocolate mama and a chocolate patty.
I just want to point out that I'm not discriminating on my husband. You can be any shade in the rainbow.
No,
I got you.
No, you can't. No, we here for it. We here for it.
Yeah, I mean, but I have cousins that are, you know, that are mixed.
Okay.
And you can definitely
biracial.
Okay, I
did it too.
Yeah. So I have cousins that are, you know, and they're boys.
Okay.
They're boys, and my cousin was never hurting for women. They were on him like white on rice.
Oh, light skin, curly hair type situation.
Like a sandy blonde. Like I was like, yo, son, I'm talking from the time we were like kids.
Yes.
To even he's married now. I'm married now. What's up, homie? But he never ever. And then I have cousins who were of the darker, and they didn't get into that guy growing.
Right, because what happened was they were out of style. Like back in the Albie Shore, what's the dude named Chico, the Elder Barge, and all
I was just talking about this today.
So my time. The light skin. Okay, well, by the time
I thought you were older. Wait, ho. What's she old last week? Last season.
I'm not old in music. I can keep that old.
No. That's
you want our music, huh? You want our music
and all that.
I mean,
gonna do that.
That's a whole other show.
So they all on drugs right now.
Right, give me some.
Boys and men not on drugs.
Elder Barge and all of
These
them.
are live.
Not all of them. Not all of them are struggling.
Last weekend but
we coming back. We coming back.
I'm trying to think, what was my?
We're gonna have
somebody else on this panel.
So now I need y'all to know we're gonna have a show about music.
We
are
coming
back to that
music
because I don't know what to listen to right now.
I'm gonna have
and you gonna know what our music is.
I'm just saying, I'm not
a whole discography.
Okay, but anyway,
we're gonna bring a guest with her so she can have somebody on her side because really.
It's just before my time.
I
didn't say it was anything wrong with your music. I just said that I was unfamiliar with your music. You were yelling people loud.
And you got to be a little bit. We're gonna come back to that.
Okay, but colorism.
None of them turned out good. They all on unsung.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Good. They all on unsung.
No, they not. No, they not. Colorism. That's what we're supposed to be talking about. Girl, they not unsung. That's what I'm saying. Stop it. They're not. Because I will always love you. Whitney will never be unsung. But anyway, we're not doing
I like me some Whitney, but you know the other one.
But that's before your time.
Okay, go ahead. Back.
Shanice, you brought up a really good point about how important and imperative it is for any brother who approaches to be as chocolate as possible. Okay, you ain't say that.
I did not.
What I will tell you guys, I had my own touch of colorism. It might have gone the other way. Okay. I have 2 daughters. So my first daughter, chocolate, rich little chocolate situation. The next daughter was like a cocoa brown situation. She a little dark with it, but not, she in between. When I knew I was having a son, I was like, God, let him be dark skinned. When he came out and he was all like light brown, I was like, okay. I mean, I love you too. It took me a minute. I'm just being honest because for me, my attraction is immediately to a darker skinned male. Not every dark skinned male, especially Michael Tomlin. That dark skinned male, there's a serious attraction there. My husband. See, they didn't even get. We've been away from each other too long. These little habits. Michael Tomlin.
That's your husband. I went to that wedding.
Not the coach of the Steelers, but my Michael Tomlin.
Although he's cute too, though.
He's not better than Michael Tomlin. So what I'm saying is,
that's right.
My mindset went straight to an attractive man is dark skinned.
So I've never. So
that's my color.
For me, I've never ever had it. I've never ever. I have never. I was more aware of my color because of others. Okay. Like we grew up like you. Like my mom didn't never say like this. We didn't grow up where we're different. But my sister took after my mom. And I think I said this before on a show before. So my grandmother, my mom's mother, was mixed. She was. Well, no, everybody say that, but my grandmother really was like. So my mom had what they call good hair. Like she doesn't need a relaxer. Right. Like you put the little water in her head and be like, what? Right. You put water in my head, be like, no. Shit. So So Betty, my sister she had that really like my mom would put a relaxer in her hair like once a year or something really weird like that. Betty's hair would change with the season. So when winter would come, it would get really, 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 really dark brown. When it was summertime, it would get really, 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 really light. Betty's eyes changed by her mood. The more upset she is, the darker her eyes are. The more happy she is, the lighter. To this day. So I tell people, if you ever watch Betty's eyes, you can tell her mood. Oh wow! And so she had a lot of my mom's side, more petite, more smaller, and so people would say she's the prettier sister. She's the skinnier sister. You know, I wasn't always chunky or curvy, but I was always bigger than my sister. Okay. And so they always did that kind of comparison. So we didn't get it. I didn't get it at home. It was outside where I recognized that I was different because either my hair or I was different because of my size or whatever. But I feel like there was a point when I was like, I'm fabulous. Yes. Right. And but that point came in my 30s. Okay. Right. And so up until then, I wanted my hair bone straight. I wanted my hair. I would put relaxer and just let it sit. Right. I wanted my hair bone because I wanted people to see me in the same light they saw my sister. Okay. No, to me, the lighter girls were prettier. Light skinned girls were prettier. Long flowing hair. was prettier. And so I wanted to achieve that. And what changed for that was my hair falling out.
Wow.
My hair got burned out by 2 different stylists.
Wow.
And so I had to do the big chop. And that's what really forced me to love myself. It forced me to be like, whether you have hair where you done grown it out your scalp or you done bought it and it's down your back, whatever your in-between is, you're still beautiful. And then last summer, summer of 2018, God said, do not wear makeup. I went to, only time I went was church. I went to work every single day. I hung out with friends with absolutely, he was like, I need for you to learn to love you without all the extra. That's what I had to do. So now, if I don't feel like putting on eyeliner that day, guess what? I don't put on makeup that day because I know I can do if I want to do it. If I want to wear my hair out, it's not, now I'm tender-headed to the 1000th degree. So I do not do natural a lot. Yeah, it's bad. But if I want to, I can. So whether I am blonde today and jet black tomorrow, I'm still famous.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you know, the majority culture will continue to try to oppress the minority culture. So it doesn't just exist amongst African Americans. Latino cultures have the same experience.
They do.
You know, they will identify as white Latino or, I don't know, just general, I don't know what the other term would be, but the darker brown Latino. So the darker you are, the less value, and the lighter. So you are, the more value you are. So it's unfortunate, and we have experienced the black experience, but minorities all over are experiencing the same oppression.
On that same show, a different, one was like Miami, one was Atlanta. So on the Miami one, they were talking about that. It was 2 young ladies, both of them were Latin American, but one was more chocolate and one was more fair. And she was, I remember her being like, the dark skin one was saying like, you're more accepted as Latin. Like, although I'm Latin, like I was born in Latin America, she said, but because I'm the color that I am, I'm not considered pure.
Yeah, like places like
she said it, like she said it.
Places like Brazil and India, that has happened for a long time. Matter of fact, I know in certain places in India, your color dictates what part of the caste you'll be a part of. Caste meaning what social class you'll be in. So the darker skinned people are usually like either homeless, or they work like as maids, or they work as like the lower class jobs. And the lighter you are, the more wealth you have, or the better quality job that you have. But that's been happening for years. And so like if you look like on the outside, I forgot what they call them, but the darker skinned people, they kind of live like on the outskirts of certain cities in India, almost like they're not even allowed inside of where India is. And Brazil was another place where the darker you are, the less likely you are to achieve like wealth and things like that. So it's, like you said, like it's not just an African American experience, but that comes as a result of colonization, imperialism. That comes as a result of, Europeans pretty much taking over the world and having placing those mindsets and those theories in different countries and pretty much changing the entire culture years later.
They
pretty much have like one shade.
Yeah.
It's just one.
But you know what? But unfortunately, they don't though. They don't. Like we always say they like, and it's just,
and there's
forgive me for saying it, but we always say they all look alike.
No,
like, and they really don't. Like they have shades to them too. They really do. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna go ahead and do our closing remarks like we do for every single show.
Yes.
We're gonna start with Tasha, go to Yale's, and then come to me.
In closing, for me, it would start with self-love, regardless of where you are, what complexion and everything, but then taking that love and sharing it with someone else. Because if we can't look past, and I would even check that for myself, the color of a man's skin or the color of a woman's skin, to see the love and beauty, it really truly is from within, and it starts from here to there. So love yourself.
Amen.
I guess I would say the shade that you were made in is the exact shade God wanted you to be made in. And God makes no mistakes. And so when He created you, He thought that your shade would be perfect for your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your everything. And if you had another shade, you wouldn't look right. So be proud of the shade that God blessed you with. He makes no mistakes, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Amen. And so what I would say to the king or to the queen that's watching this show, when Danielle was talking about, just remember she was talking about, in Britain and in another Brazil and in India, about what came to my mind was that in Africa, when you look at a king or a queen in Africa, right, they were proud of who they were, right? There was a certain air about them.
Absolutely.
But you really didn't see a lot of fair-skinned queens and kings, right? But you come from a line of royalty. And it goes back to what you said, knowing who you are, knowing your worth, knowing that God created you just how he created you. And God is intentional. And so whether or not you're 5'5" or you're 6'10", however you are, God, your purpose and your destiny is attached to how God created you.
Yeah.
And so I need for you to love you. Be okay, if you are a fair shade. Be okay if you're in the middle. Be okay if you're on the more darker, right? But just learn to love you. At the end of the day, how do we kill colorism? By loving ourselves.
That's right. And loving somebody else.
Loving yourself and then showing that love. I always say a good queen will fix the crown of another queen, and nobody will ever know. Love your sisters. Love your brothers. Because we thrive off love. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. So we do thank you for tuning in this week while we talked about colorism. We will see you guys next week on what? Queen Chronicles The Series. We're back!